Bonjour everyone, Pantouf here today for a new video in which we're going to take a look at the T10, a tier 10 American tank destroyer that got buffed in the 9.3 update. You may or may not know this, but since the 9.3 update, a couple of tanks got buffed, and among them there is only one tier 10, which is the T10. And you're probably thinking to yourself, what really changed? Because when we take a look at it, currently we don't see anything really big game changing. Well, the answer is quite simple. They only changed the penetration of the tank, going from 285mm of penetration with your regular shell to 295, and same for your gold shell going at 385mm. And now you're probably thinking, well, Pantouf, if it's the only change, why are you making a whole video about it? Well, the answer is simple. I just expected Wargaming to make something more on the T10 rather than just upgrading the penetration. And in order to understand why I think like that, let's take a look at a quick replay. Basically, the T10 that has been around for a very long time is, in my opinion, totally outperformed by many tank destroyers you can find at the same tier. You're looking for some armor, go for the Object 268 version 4. You're looking to get a better alpha damage, go for the Jagdpanzer, go for the Heavy 183. You're looking for something that has a better DPM but the exact same gun, go for the Grill, etc, etc. And in definitive, when we take a look at the T10 like it currently is, it's just the embodiment of what makes everything average about a tank destroyer. And in my opinion, at least back in the days, like 1 or 2 years ago, I said to people that it's one of the few perfect tanks to start playing tank destroyer, as well as the Object 268. And nowadays, it just feels wrong to say that, for the one reason that this thing doesn't fit anywhere. What I mean by that is that in order to make it relevant, you will have to get a lot of experience in order to be able to anticipate, because you're going to get punished for many mistakes you make. And one simple reason for that is this weak spot right there. In my opinion, this is what makes this tank irrelevant. The weak spot is just too weak. I understand that you have some weak point on which you need to penetrate with gold shell, and you're 100% sure to penetrate when you're using gold shell. But when you can penetrate the thing so easily, it just destroys the whole purpose of the tank. You have 10 degrees of gun depression, which means that you are supposed to play in all out. But you have this big cupola that you can't get rid of, which means that everyone will penetrate, therefore your all down method becomes useless. And it goes like that for many other reasons. The fact also that the mobility is quite poor due to a nerf that occurred on T10 a couple of updates ago also doesn't help at all. In my opinion, it's either Wargaming needs to modify the armor profile of the tank, making it harder to penetrate on the weak spot, and if they don't want to touch it, which would be reasonable from them not to touch it, they should at least allow us to get a better mobility. I'm not asking too much, but like 5 more kilometers per hour and maybe a little bit of maybe 2, 3, 4 degrees of turn rate better. This would already make the tank a better one and definitely something more competitive. But of course, for the other statistics, I don't see the point of changing them, specifically the gun, because the gun is reliable, you have one of the best gun dispersion for its tier, you have a good reload time, a good gun depression, everything is just perfect. It's just what surrounds the gun that makes it a pain in the ass to play with. This game is the perfect example of everything I just cited. We have our T10, and all of a sudden you see that we are slower than many tanks that we shouldn't be slower than. Like the Super Conqueror, for example, that goes faster than us. We are only going at 30 kilometers per hour, knowing that we are supposed to go fast. I mean, it's a T10. I remember back in the good old days, you could go to 40 kilometers per hour with this. And now you are just stuck to that little roll that forces you to camp because of your mobility. I'm still gonna try to play it aggressively because, you know me, I'm not someone that likes to play my tank destroyer camping, at least in this game, because in Tank Company it's a little bit different. But here, well, just take a look at what we're currently doing. I'm trying to sling my shells on the Yo and the Sheridan. Unfortunately, I'm gonna miss my HE, but that happens. And obviously, I'm getting totally wrecked by the T10 in front of me that is right to camp. You don't have the best mobility, so let's just stay into a bush, and that's it. We do our game. And I think that thinking like this, and therefore the way Wargaming made that tank, is quite cancerous to the game, because every single T10 player that doesn't necessarily have a lot of experience will play the T10 camping, and therefore it's gonna make the game uninteresting for many people. let's be honest, nobody likes to take a 640 alpha damage shot within seconds out of a tank destroyer that is camping 500 meters away. No one likes it. And the fact that Wargaming doesn't understand that, or that they understand it but they don't care, which is even worse, makes me mad. Mad a little. I mean, it's just a game, so relax. But I don't know, I just wish that Wargaming could do something about the T1024, but it seems like one of those tanks that really they struggle balancing, like the Heavy-4 that is getting a nerf, an update, a nerf, an update every 2 or 3 updates or so. And well, currently, even if I can't tell you that this tank is the worst, because there are much worse tanks in this update, for example the Grill 15, but seeing that it doesn't have the place in the battlefield that it should have, I don't know, it's always a tank I had in my heart, the T1024, since the first day I got it. Because when I got it, I thought, okay, this is the best and perfect tank for newbies to learn how to play the game. And Wargaming is keep pushing it on the edge to the point that nobody really wants to play it. Just ask yourself, how many T1024 do you see on the battlefield? Do you really see that often T1024 on the battlefield? And I think that the answer is no. So in definitive, even if increasing the penetration is always a nice thing, I don't think that it's going to solve any of the problems, the real problems the T1024 is actually facing. And hopefully Wargaming in the near future will understand that and will change many other factors about the tank. And I'm just hoping that we will not have to wait for the tank to be totally power creep before getting in another version, a better version. But yeah, maybe I'm just being old and the tank is perfectly fine. Tell me in the comments if you think so, and personally I'm gonna see you soon for a new video, hopefully on new changes about the 9.3 update. See ya.